Panic exploded when the alien queen collapsed, but the human guard. Its twin suns stretched long shadows across the jagged cliffs and crystal-like forests, casting an eerie glow over the alien city that sprawled across the surface. Towering structures, smooth and metallic, reflected the sunlight in dazzling patterns, and in the center, the grand palace of the Xylar Queen rose like a mountain. Its spires reached high into the sky, shimmering with an energy humans could barely understand. Lieutenant Marcus stood at the edge of the human outpost, a small, sturdy station that had been built at the border of Xylar territory. The outpost was simple, functional, and heavily reinforced, the kind of place where humans thrived by combining practicality with ingenuity. Marcus adjusted his uniform, feeling the weight of the ceremonial sidearm strapped to his side. Today was unlike any other. Today, the human delegation would meet the Xylar Queen herself. The news had arrived weeks ago. The Queen wanted to meet the humans to discuss trade and alliance terms. It was a rare opportunity, and a dangerous one. The Xylars were known for their unpredictable nature, and their immense power made negotiations risky. Marcus had been trained for such encounters, though nothing in his training could prepare him for what would happen next. Across the courtyard, the alien guards, tall, armored beings with sleek, multi-jointed limbs, marched in perfect unison. Their movements were precise, almost mechanical, but there was something alive in the way their eyes glowed softly. Marcus watched them carefully. He had learned to read alien body language, to notice even the smallest shift in posture or expression. Every detail mattered. Then the Queen appeared. She did not walk in as a normal leader would. She floated, her massive form suspended a few inches above the ground, her limbs long and graceful. Her skin was iridescent, reflecting the light like liquid metal, and her eyes, large, multifaceted, and deep as oceans, swept over the humans with an unsettling intensity. The air seemed to hum around her, a subtle vibration that made Marcus feel both awe and caution. The Xylar court bowed, or at least the alien version of bowing. The humans mirrored them, though it felt strange, awkward even under the alien gaze. Marcus stepped forward with the delegation, his heart steady but his mind alert. He knew the importance of appearances, and the humans needed to seem respectful without showing fear. The initial greetings were formal. Words passed through a translator device, each phrase carefully measured. The Queen's voice was low, resonant, almost musical, and it carried authority that pressed against the mind like gravity. Marcus noted every reaction of his companions, every flicker of uncertainty or surprise. And then it happened. Without warning, the Queen swayed. Her glowing eyes dimmed for a moment, and she collapsed to the floor, a soundless crash that sent a shockwave through the palace. Alien guards shouted in clicks and hisses, their movements jerky and panicked. The delegation froze. Panic exploded in the room like a storm, and Marcus' instincts kicked in immediately. He ran forward. Human training emphasized quick assessment and calm action in emergencies, and this was no exception. Around him, the alien court was chaos incarnate. Some guards tried to lift the Queen, others barked commands that no one seemed to follow. Human translators struggled to make sense of the alien chatter. Marcus reached the Queen's side. She was enormous, her body still glowing faintly even as her life signs seemed unstable. Her breathing, if it could be called that, was erratic. Marcus had never seen a creature like her, not even in simulations. Yet he knew one thing: if he acted now, he could prevent the situation from spiraling further. "Step back," he shouted, using the universal human gesture for space. Surprisingly, some of the Xylar guards obeyed. Others watched him warily, unsure if they should intervene or allow him to act. Marcus knelt beside the Queen, checking her vital signs with the medical scanner he carried on his wrist. The device beeped uncertainly. Its readings were alien, but enough to tell him she was alive, barely. Around him, alien nobles argued fiercely. Some wanted to summon another leader, others demanded punishment for human interference. Marcus realized that in their panic, the Xylars had forgotten one simple truth: the humans were not the enemy. But convincing them in the middle of chaos would require more than words. It would require action. He adjusted the Queen's posture, trying not to touch sensitive areas that could trigger defensive reflexes. Her body was heavy, but her aura seemed to respond to his calm. Slowly, he started to stabilize her, using basic medical techniques adapted for alien physiology. The court watched, tense, as a human moved with purpose among beings who were far stronger and faster than him. A sudden shout drew his attention. One of the Xylar lieutenants, a lithe figure with 3 eyes and segmented limbs, approached. "Why are you touching her?" it demanded, its voice a sharp chime that cut through the room. Marcus looked up. He met the alien's gaze with steady eyes. "She's alive," he said simply. "I'm keeping her that way." The alien hesitated. Its eyes flickered with uncertainty. Marcus understood that hesitation was an opening. He continued his work, carefully monitoring the Queen's vital signs. Slowly, the erratic vibrations around her dimmed. Her breathing steadied, her glow returned, faint but steady. The panic in the room did not vanish, but it shifted from chaos to cautious observation. Marcus stood, brushing off his uniform. Around him, humans and aliens alike were silent, staring. For a moment he felt the weight of history upon him. Here he was, a single human guard in the center of an alien palace, stabilizing a leader who had ruled a civilization for centuries. And yet there was no time for awe. The crisis was far from over. "The Queen will survive," he said, addressing both humans and Xylars. "We need calm. Decisions will be made, but only with reason, not panic." Some Xylars nodded reluctantly. Others still whispered among themselves, suspicious of his motives. Marcus knew it would take time for them to trust him fully, but the moment had shifted. He had turned a near catastrophe into a controlled emergency. The first step was complete. Outside the palace windows, the sons of Zerf dipped lower, casting long shadows that stretched across the alien city. Marcus glanced at the human delegation. They were pale, shaken, but ready. They had witnessed something extraordinary, and they now understood the value of human composure, ingenuity, and courage. The Queen's collapse had been unexpected, terrifying, and dangerous. But in that moment, Lieutenant Marcus had proven one undeniable truth. Humans could face even the most alien of crises with calm and skill. As he looked around the grand hall, Marcus realized the day was far from over. The alien court would react, factions would argue, and outside threats might take advantage of the chaos. But for now, he had bought them a chance for survival, a chance for diplomacy, and a chance to show that humanity was more than just a species to be managed or feared. In that moment, standing in the center of an alien palace, surrounded by beings who had ruled the stars for centuries, Marcus understood the power of presence, courage, and intelligence. And he knew that humanity's story on Zerf was only beginning. The palace hall was still buzzing with tension. The collapse of the Xylar Queen had left a hole not just in leadership, but in the confidence of the alien court. The once perfect symmetry of movement and order had been replaced with jittery glances, whispered commands, and nervous clicks. Lieutenant Marcus stood at the center of it all, calm and measured, the human delegation behind him. Every eye in the room, alien and human alike, was on him. Marcus had stabilized the Queen for now, but that was only the beginning. The immediate danger had passed, but the political storm that followed was far more dangerous. He could see it in the Xylar lieutenant's posture, the subtle stiffening, the way their multiple eyes darted from one person to another. Each of them was thinking the same thing: who will lead now? One of the senior Xylar, a tall figure with segmented arms and translucent skin, stepped forward. Its voice was a series of sharp musical clicks that Marcus could barely interpret, but the translator device made sense of the words. "This is unprecedented. The Queen is our anchor. Without her, we drift into chaos. Who is responsible?" Marcus stepped forward. He took a deep breath and spoke in clear, confident tones. "The Queen will recover, but she needs time. Until then, decisions need calm. Panic will only make this worse." For a moment, the aliens were stunned. The idea of a human standing in the middle of their council, giving instructions, was almost unthinkable. Yet there was no denying the logic in his words. Chaos had no place in a situation like this, and Marcus' calm presence reminded them of that. One of the lieutenants, younger and more impulsive, hissed angrily. "A human? You dare command us?" Marcus did not flinch. "I am not commanding, I am guiding. You want your Queen to survive, I want her to survive. We have the same goal. Right now, reason must lead us, not anger." There was silence. The court was divided. Some Xylars seemed willing to listen, while others glared with distrust. Marcus realized the situation could tip at any moment. He needed to take control, but carefully. One wrong move, one misstep, and the delicate balance would collapse. "First," he continued, "we secure the Queen, then we prevent outsiders from taking advantage of this." And finally, we organize your council so no faction can make decisions that harm the rest of your people. The human delegation watched in awe. Marcus had just stepped into a role that no one had expected. Humans were often underestimated in Xylar territory, assumed to be minor, weak, or irrelevant. But here, in the middle of a political earthquake, Marcus, calm intellect and decisive actions made it clear that humans could be far more than outsiders. They could be stabilizers, leaders, and protectors. He gestured to two human medics who had been observing. "Help me monitor her, check all vitals, report immediately if anything changes." The medics nodded, rushing to the Queen's side with practiced efficiency. Marcus turned his attention back to the Xylar court. "Listen," he said, keeping his tone steady. "I know you are scared. You have every right to be, but in fear mistakes happen. Leaders fall, empires crumble. We cannot let this happen." A murmur spread through the court. Some nodded, some clicked nervously, but the fear in their movements was undeniable. Marcus could see the young lieutenants whispering, calculating, debating. They wanted to act, to seize power, to control. But there was no consensus. And in that gap, Marcus' influence grew. One of the older Xylars, its skin shimmering with silver, finally spoke. "You speak as though you know our ways, human. Why should we trust you?" Marcus smiled faintly. "Because I understand what it means to be responsible in a crisis. I may not know all your customs, but I know how to keep a situation from turning deadly. I am here to ensure no one dies unnecessarily. That is all." The alien seemed to consider this. Its eyes, three bright orbs that flickered with thought, softened slightly. For a brief moment, Marcus saw a flicker of understanding, a recognition that humans, despite being smaller and physically weaker, had something powerful that aliens often overlooked: the ability to think clearly under pressure. The palace trembled faintly as if sensing the tension. Outside, the hum of alien engines and distant patrols reminded everyone that the galaxy was not quiet. The collapse of the Queen could signal weakness to enemies, raiders, or rival factions. Marcus knew that if he did not act quickly, the humans and even the Xylars could be in danger before the Queen regained her strength. He raised his voice, firm but measured. "We cannot wait. We must organize the council. Any faction that tries to seize control now will be stopped. We will work together, humans and Xylars, to protect the Queen and your people." The murmurs grew louder. Some lieutenants hissed and clicked, clearly unhappy, but a few stepped forward, showing their willingness to cooperate. Marcus recognized these as the stabilizing elements, the ones who understood that survival came before ambition. He turned to the delegation. "Stay close. Observe, help where needed. Humans have a gift for seeing patterns, for staying calm. Use that to your advantage. If we can keep this council steady, we can prevent disaster." Meanwhile, a small medical drone hovered near the Queen, scanning her vitals. Marcus examined the readings. Her energy levels were low, her neural activity fluctuating, but she was conscious enough to respond to simple commands. That was enough. For now. Suddenly, one of the lieutenants slammed its segmented arms on the table. "This is unacceptable. We cannot wait for her recovery. The swarm needs leadership." Marcus stepped closer. "And that is exactly why we must wait. Leadership without reason is chaos. You can either act recklessly now and risk the Queen's life and your own people, or we stabilize her and then make decisions together. That is the only way to save everyone." The alien paused. The clicks and hisses from the other lieutenants intensified. Some were visibly frustrated, their eyes darting nervously. Marcus realized he had to reinforce his position, not with force but with logic and presence. He gestured to the palace doors. "Outside these walls there are threats. Other factions, raiders, enemies of the swarm, all waiting to exploit weakness. If we allow chaos inside, the world outside will tear you apart. Control here and you control survival. That is the choice." Slowly, the atmosphere began to change. The initial panic that had filled the hall was still there, but it was now tempered with caution. Some lieutenants stepped closer, their eyes on Marcus, observing him, testing him. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was real. He had earned their attention. Marcus felt a strange satisfaction, not pride, not arrogance, but clarity. He had stepped into a situation no human should have been part of and had made a difference. The Queen was alive, the immediate danger was contained, and now the court was listening. That was all any person could ask for in a crisis. He moved closer to the Queen, kneeling beside her once more. She opened one glowing eye and looked at him, faint recognition in her gaze. Marcus offered a small nod. "You're safe for now," he said softly. The alien court watched in silence, witnessing an unprecedented moment. A human speaking to their queen with authority and competence. The days ahead would be challenging. The queen would recover slowly, factions would try to assert influence, and humans would have to maintain their role as mediators. But Marcus knew that this was the beginning of something greater. Humanity had shown that intelligence, courage, and calm could turn the tide of an interstellar crisis. As the sun dipped lower on Zerf, casting long shadows across the palace floor, Marcus straightened. He looked at the assembled council and saw the uncertainty, the fear, but also a spark of possibility. Humans could do more than survive in alien worlds. They could lead, guide, and inspire. And in this moment, he realized that the future of the Xylar swarm and the humans on Zerf were intertwined in ways no one had imagined. Marcus breathed deeply. The unexpected responsibility of the day was only the beginning. A storm of political maneuvering, alien intrigue, and interstellar threats awaited, but he was ready. Humanity had stepped onto a larger stage, and Lieutenant Marcus was at its center. The palace doors closed behind the delegation as night began to fall. Stars shimmered in the twin-sun sky. Somewhere in the distance, the galaxy waited. And Marcus, standing tall among aliens and humans alike, prepared to face the challenges ahead with courage, wit, and calm resolve. White heavy checkmark word count. The palace of the Xylar Queen was quiet now, but the calm was only surface deep. Shadows stretched across the crystal floors, and the hum of alien technology filled the empty spaces between conversations. Lieutenant Marcus stood in the center of the council chamber, his eyes scanning the assembled lieutenants. Though some were cooperating, others lingered with suspicious glances and whispered clicks. Marcus had learned quickly that fear often hides danger, and danger often hides ambition. "Lieutenant Marcus," one of the older Xylar spoke, its skin flickering silver under the palace lights, "you have stabilized the queen. Now what do you suggest we do?" "Some of us believe we cannot wait for her full recovery." Marcus met the alien's gaze steadily. "We can wait," he said, "but we cannot ignore the outside world. While we are focused on internal issues, there are threats that will take advantage of this moment. We must prepare for them now," the council murmured. Some nodded, others hissed. Humans were often underestimated, but Marcus had learned that perception alone could shift outcomes. The Xylars were strong and fast, but they lacked the calm reasoning humans could provide under pressure. That reasoning could make the difference between survival and destruction. He turned to the palace doors. "Scouts report unusual activity near your borders. Raider ships, possibly spies, are circling, waiting for weakness. If any of your factions move recklessly, they could be attacked. We need to secure the perimeter and be ready for any attempt to exploit this crisis." A younger lieutenant, sleek and segmented, hissed angrily. "Do you presume to tell the Xylar how to defend our territory, human?" Marcus did not flinch. "I am not presuming. I am observing. Your weapons are strong, but humans have a gift for predicting patterns of behavior. We can help you act before an enemy does." Some of the lieutenants clicked quietly, their curiosity piqued. Marcus could feel the tension in the room. He knew the fragile trust he had built could vanish in an instant if he misstepped. Calm and reason were his allies, panic was the enemy. Outside the palace windows, the sky had darkened to a deep violet hue. The twin suns of Zerf had set, leaving only the soft glow of distant stars. Patrol ships, sleek and black against the horizon, moved silently through the air. Marcus' eyes tracked them carefully. He understood the importance of preparation. The Xylars might be powerful, but a divided army is a vulnerable one. He moved toward the queen, who rested on a levitating platform. Her glow was steady now, her breathing calm. Marcus knelt beside her, speaking softly. "You're stable, but we need more than that. You will face threats before you regain full strength. Your lieutenants need guidance, and the humans must be ready to act." The queen's eyes flickered open slightly, and a soft hum escaped her mouth. Though she could not speak fully, her gaze was enough to convey acknowledgement. Marcus straightened, glancing back at the council. Their whispers had stopped. All attention was on the interaction between human and queen. He turned back to the lieutenants. "We cannot ignore internal betrayal. While some of you cooperate, others plan to take advantage of the queen's weakness. If any faction moves without thought, the consequences could be fatal for everyone." A ripple of unease passed through the council. Some lieutenants stiffened, and others exchanged wary glances. Marcus sensed the shift. He had hit a nerve, somewhere hidden ambition was stirring. Suddenly, an alert flashed on his wrist device. Scouts had spotted movement near the northern ridge outside the palace. Raider ships, small, fast, and deadly, were closing in. Their intent was clear: strike now, while the Xylers were distracted and divided. Marcus raised his voice. "We have confirmation of raiders approaching from the north. They will attack if we are unprepared. Human and Xyler forces must coordinate immediately." The council erupted into chaos. Some lieutenants shouted orders in clicks and hisses, but others hesitated, unsure whom to follow. Marcus moved swiftly, assigning human guards to key positions and guiding the Xylers to strategic posts. His voice carried calm authority, cutting through the panic. "Positions," he commanded. "Defend the Queen, protect the city. We cannot let fear guide us." The humans followed, moving with precision and speed. They were smaller and fewer, but their coordination was unmatched. Xyler soldiers, initially reluctant, began to mirror their movements, impressed by the humans' calm and efficiency. From the palace windows, the raider ships grew larger, their sleek, dark forms cutting across the violet sky. Marcus studied their approach. "They are testing us," he said. "They want to see how we react. We will not give them that advantage." He quickly devised a plan. Human sharpshooters would target the raiders' engines, while Xyler energy weapons formed a defensive perimeter around the palace. Marcus coordinated the two forces with careful precision, ensuring that neither would accidentally strike the other in the chaos. The raiders fired first, streaks of energy cutting through the sky. Human shields absorbed some of the impact, while Xyler energy barriers deflected the rest. Marcus' instructions were clear and efficient: move, defend, adapt. The humans and Xylers worked together seamlessly, a rare collaboration in a world often divided by species and pride. As the battle unfolded, Marcus noticed subtle movements among the Xyler lieutenants. Some were slipping away, moving toward the Queen's chambers with unclear intent. He realized the danger was not only outside the palace but also inside. Rogue factions might attempt to seize control in the confusion. Marcus acted swiftly. He intercepted the first lieutenant, blocking its path with human strength and presence. "Back," he ordered firmly. "No one enters until the Queen is fully stable." The lieutenant hesitated, then hissed angrily, stepping back. Marcus knew he had earned temporary control, but the threat remained. More lieutenants might try similar moves. The Queen's safety depended not only on repelling the raiders, but also on maintaining order within the palace. The battle outside intensified. Raiders had launched boarding ships, attempting to breach the palace walls. Marcus directed the human sharpshooters to target boarding parties, while Xyler soldiers sealed entrances. His mind worked quickly, calculating probabilities, anticipating enemy moves, and adjusting strategies in real time. Through the chaos, he felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Humans were often underestimated, even feared, but here, their intelligence, calm, and courage were the difference between disaster and survival. Every action he took proved that humanity's strength was not in size or raw power, but in adaptability, reasoning, and courage under pressure. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The raiders' attacks were repelled one by one, thanks to careful coordination between humans and Xylers. Casualties were minimal, and the palace remained secure. Marcus watched as the final boarding craft retreated into the dark sky, their intent to strike foiled by human strategy and courage. The council was silent, staring at Marcus with a mixture of awe, respect, and cautious suspicion. The Queen, though still recovering, glowed brighter now, her energy stabilizing. Marcus approached her once more, kneeling at her side. "You are safe," he said. "The raiders have been repelled and the palace is secure, but the danger is not gone. Your people will test each other. Outside enemies may strike again. We must remain vigilant." The Queen's eyes opened fully, and she fixed Marcus with a steady gaze. Though she could not speak, her acknowledgement was clear. She trusted him at least enough to rely on his judgment. Marcus turned to the council. "This is your moment," he said. "You have seen what happens when panic controls decisions. You have seen what happens when humans and Xylers work together. Use this moment wisely. Stabilize the factions, secure the Queen, and prepare for threats. That is your responsibility." Some lieutenants nodded. Others clicked softly, still unsure. But Marcus knew that seeds of cooperation had been planted. In time, these seeds could grow into a strong alliance, one capable of facing any threat, internal or external. The palace doors closed once more, shutting out the violet night sky. Stars twinkled above Zerf, distant and cold, but within the palace a new warmth had emerged, the warmth of reason, courage, and collaboration. Marcus stood at the center, human among aliens, calm in the eye of storms both political and literal. He understood one simple truth. The hidden threat was not only in the raiders outside, but in the ambitions, fears, and pride of the Xylar themselves. To protect the Queen, to maintain peace, and to prove humanity's worth, he would have to navigate both with equal skill. And Marcus was ready. The palace of the Xylar Queen was quiet in a way that felt fragile, as if any sudden movement could shatter the calm. Lieutenant Marcus moved slowly through the corridors, observing the alien guards who were tense but no longer panicking. The raiders had retreated, and the immediate external threat had passed, but Marcus knew that the real challenge lay within. Political tension still simmered among the Xylar lieutenants, some impatient, some calculating, some unsure who to trust. The Queen was beginning to recover. Her glow had strengthened, her breathing had stabilized, and she could respond to simple commands. A sense of relief spread among those in the chamber, but Marcus understood the truth. The moment of true danger was not over. The Xylar were a proud and ambitious race, and any sign of weakness could reignite internal conflict. Marcus approached her levitating platform, kneeling carefully. "You are stronger today," he said softly. "But your people need guidance, and you need to regain full control. I will help however I can." The Queen's eyes, vast and multifaceted, focused on him. A faint hum escaped her mouth, a sound that Marcus had learned was her way of acknowledging understanding. Though she could not speak in full sentences, her recognition of his role in stabilizing the palace was unmistakable. He straightened and addressed the council, which had gathered once more in the main hall. "The Queen is recovering," he said firmly. "We have repelled outside threats, but the internal challenge remains. Factions will try to act on fear and ambition. That cannot be allowed. Order must return before chaos spreads." The lieutenants shifted uneasily. Some were still wary of the human's authority. Others were beginning to see the wisdom in his words. Marcus knew that a single moment of decisiveness could tip the balance in favor of cooperation. He chose his next words carefully. "You have all seen what happens when panic guides decisions. You have seen how quick thinking and calm action can save lives. Today, humans and Xylars acted together. Tomorrow, your people can survive because of that collaboration. Leadership is about protecting the many, not serving the few. The Queen may not be at full strength, but that does not mean you act recklessly. You lead with reason." A ripple of clicks and hisses passed through the council. Some lieutenants nodded slowly, a few exchanged glances of reluctant agreement. Marcus sensed the change. Fear was fading, replaced by cautious respect. This was the turning point he had hoped for, the moment when order could be restored without violence. He turned to the Queen. "Your voice may not be strong yet," he said softly, "but your presence is enough. Show them that your authority remains. That alone can unite your people." The Queen extended a long, graceful limb, and a soft hum resonated throughout the chamber. The effect was immediate. The lieutenants paused, their movements slowing. Even those who had been aggressive before hesitated. It was as if the very air recognized her strength, even in weakness. Marcus had seen it, the subtle power of presence, the way a leader could inspire loyalty and calm fear without words. Marcus addressed the council once more. "This is the moment to act wisely. Any attempt to take advantage of weakness will fail. Cooperate now or risk destruction later. The choice is yours." The silence that followed was heavy but meaningful. The Xylars were weighing their options, calculating, sensing the stakes. Marcus remained calm, standing in the center of the chamber, human among aliens, a steady presence amid uncertainty. Then, a sudden alert broke the tension. Sensors in the palace detected movement near the western tower, a location that had been quiet since the raider attack. Marcus quickly analyzed the readings. "There's someone there," he said. "Not a raider, someone from inside, likely a faction attempting to test the Queen's recovery. We need to act immediately." He signaled the human guards and the Xylar soldiers willing to cooperate. "Move carefully," he instructed. "No one enters without strategy. We protect the Queen first." The team advanced silently through the corridors, Marcus leading the way. His mind worked quickly, anticipating ambushes, noting weak points in the architecture and planning defensive positions. The Xylar soldiers followed, some with trust, some with suspicion, but all aware that human strategy was guiding them. As they approached the western tower, they found a small group of lieutenants attempting to manipulate palace controls. Their faces were tense, eyes flickering with ambition. Marcus stepped forward, hands raised in a calm but firm gesture. "Step back," he said. "Your actions threaten everyone. Stop now or you risk harm to the Queen and your people." The aliens hesitated, calculating, their pride warring with their caution. Marcus held his ground, his presence unwavering. Slowly, the group backed down, realizing that he would not be intimidated. The humans' calm authority had shifted the balance. Back in the main chamber, the Queen floated higher, her glow stronger, her hum resonating through the palace. The lieutenants returned, now showing deference, understanding that the Queen's recovery was underway and that leadership could not be seized recklessly. Marcus had managed to stabilize the most dangerous internal threat without violence, a feat that impressed both humans and Xylars alike. Hours later, the Queen's condition improved further. She could emit stronger hums, respond to complex commands, and move with greater control. Marcus stood nearby, ready to assist, but giving her the space to regain authority. The palace was still tense, but the fear that had gripped the council had transformed into cautious optimism. Marcus knew that trust would take time. Some lieutenants would test boundaries, some would seek influence, and some would watch the humans closely. But the turning point had been reached. Humanity had proven that intelligence, calm, and courage could guide even the most powerful alien race through a moment of crisis. As the twin sons of Zerf rose again, casting golden light across the crystal floors, Marcus reflected on the events of the past days. From stabilizing the Queen to repelling raiders, from guiding the Council to containing internal threats, humans had shown that their strength lay in their minds and hearts, not in sheer power. The Queen extended her attention toward him, a silent acknowledgement of the role he had played. Marcus nodded in return. He understood the responsibility now resting on his shoulders, to help ensure that cooperation between humans and Xylars endured, and to prepare for the next challenge that would surely come. Outside the palace, the city began to stir. The citizens of Zerf, unaware of the political intricacies unfolding within, sensed a change in the air. The hum of the city's engines, the distant chatter of patrol ships, the quiet energy of alien life, all carried a subtle optimism. Leadership had returned, even if it was still fragile. Marcus moved through the palace halls, checking on human guards, Xylar soldiers, and the Queen's attendants. Every step, every instruction, reinforced the lesson that humans could be trusted in crises, that their presence could stabilize even the most unpredictable situations. Suddenly, a new alert flashed on his device. Scouts had detected movement far beyond the palace, ships on the outskirts of the planet, distant but moving fast. Raiders, perhaps testing again, perhaps allies of the factions Marcus had contained. The Queen's recovery was progressing, but the galaxy outside was never still. Marcus took a deep breath. This was the life humans had chosen on Zerf, unpredictable, challenging, and dangerous. Yet it was also a life full of purpose. Every action mattered, every decision could save lives, and every moment of calm in chaos was a victory. He returned to the Queen's side. "Your strength is returning," he said softly. "The palace is secure and your people are listening, but we must remain vigilant. The galaxy is full of those who would test weakness. We will face them together." The Queen's glow pulsed in response, a rhythm Marcus had learned to understand. It was more than a sign of life. It was a sign of trust, a recognition that humans could be allies, protectors, and stabilizers in a universe that often demanded more than mere survival. As the day ended, Marcus looked at the council once more. The Xylar lieutenants were no longer panicked, no longer acting recklessly. They were alert, cautious, and beginning to work together. The turning point had been reached, not through force, but through calm action, intelligence, and courage. Marcus understood the truth that had guided him throughout this crisis. Leadership is not about dominance, strength, or fear. Leadership is about presence, reason, and the ability to inspire trust. Humanity had shown that, and the Xylar Queen's survival was proof that even the most powerful beings could benefit from wisdom, calm, and courage in the right hands. The palace hummed quietly as night fell again over Zerf. Stars glimmered above, and somewhere far beyond, the galaxy waited. But inside the palace, humans and Xylers alike knew that a new chapter had begun. A chapter where collaboration, intelligence, and courage would determine the future. And Lieutenant Marcus, human among aliens, stood ready to face whatever came next. The palace of the Xyler Queen gleamed under the twin suns of Zerf, golden light bouncing across its crystal-like surfaces. The city below was alive with quiet energy, citizens moving through their routines with a sense of calm that had been missing for days. The air, once thick with tension, now felt lighter, but Lieutenant Marcus knew that peace could not be taken for granted. The Queen had regained much of her strength. She floated gracefully, her glow steady, and her hum resonated with clarity and authority. The lieutenants, once divided and suspicious, had begun to act with discipline and cooperation. It was remarkable progress, but Marcus understood that leadership, once shaken, could still face sudden challenges. The galaxy beyond Zerf's borders waited, and threats could arrive without warning. He moved through the Grand Hall, observing both humans and Xylers preparing for the day's council. Humans moved with calm efficiency, setting up communications, scanning equipment, and monitoring palace sensors. The Xyler, still adjusting to their restored queen, followed Marcus' guidance with cautious trust. His role was no longer just a stabilizer. He had become a bridge between two civilizations, human and alien alike. The council convened in the central chamber. The queen hovered at the center, her multiple eyes focused on the assembled lieutenants. Marcus stood nearby, ready to advise, to guide, and to act if necessary. Silence filled the room, the kind of silence that carried the weight of decisions to come. "Today," Marcus began, his voice calm but firm, "you face a choice. The galaxy beyond waits. Outside factions may attempt to exploit weakness, internal divisions may test loyalty, and the consequences of rash action could be disastrous. You have seen what happens when panic rules. You have seen what humans can do to stabilize a crisis. Use this moment wisely." The lieutenants murmured, some clicking in agreement, some in skepticism. Marcus could see that trust had been earned, but it remained fragile. Leadership required constant reinforcement. He needed to ensure that cooperation endured, not just survived today's council. Suddenly, a warning flashed on the palace sensors. Scout ships had detected movement near Zerf's orbital perimeter. Raider fleets larger than before were approaching, likely drawn by the recent instability. Marcus' eyes narrowed. The danger was far from over, and this time it would be more challenging. He quickly analyzed the situation. "The Raiders are stronger this time," he said. "Their intent is clear. They want to exploit weakness and fear, but we will not give it to them. Humans and Xylers will act together as we did before. Coordination and calm will be our strength." The Queen's hum deepened, a sound of approval, acknowledgement, and resolve. She could not speak fully yet, but her presence alone inspired confidence among her lieutenants. Marcus turned to them. "Prepare your defenses," he instructed. "Secure the city, coordinate with human forces, and maintain calm. Panic will destroy us faster than any enemy. Stay alert, stay focused, and remember your duty." The lieutenants clicked in acknowledgement, moving with disciplined precision. For the first time in days, Marcus saw a united front. The palace, the council, and even the city below were ready. The turning point had passed, and now the test of humanity's role in this galaxy awaited. Outside the palace, the raider fleets approached, black silhouettes against the violet sky. Marcus studied their formation, noting weaknesses in their attack pattern. Their ships were fast and numerous, but not coordinated. They had assumed the Xyler were divided, that the Queen was weak. Marcus knew that human reasoning and calm could turn the tide. "Positions," he commanded, his voice echoing through the palace corridors. Human sharpshooters, Xyler energy units, and defensive drones moved into their roles with efficiency. Marcus guided them, adjusting strategies in real time, anticipating enemy movements, and ensuring the palace remained protected. The first wave of raiders struck, firing beams of energy toward the palace defenses. Shields flared, absorbing the impact, while coordinated Xyler units returned fire with precise accuracy. Human sharpshooters targeted critical points on the raiders' ships, disabling engines and weapons without unnecessary destruction. Marcus' strategy relied on precision, timing, and trust between human and Xyler forces. Hours passed, though time felt compressed in the intensity of the battle. Marcus observed the battlefield from the palace windows, giving instructions, anticipating attacks and reinforcing coordination. The raiders were powerful, but they were outmatched by unity, intelligence, and careful planning. Inside the palace, Marcus moved to the queen's side. "Stay strong," he said softly. "Your people are fighting with purpose. Humans and Xylers together will protect you. Your authority is growing with each moment." The queen's glow pulsed rhythmically, a sign that she was regaining her full presence and energy. Marcus watched as the lieutenants coordinated, some giving commands, others moving troops efficiently. Their initial fear and ambition had been replaced with focus and resolve. The humans' role as mediators and guides had proven invaluable. The raider fleet began to falter. Ships were disabled, engines destroyed, and boarding attempts repelled. Marcus directed the Xyler forces and humans with careful precision, exploiting weaknesses without allowing recklessness. The battle, which had threatened to overwhelm the palace, was turning in their favor. Finally, the remaining raiders retreated, their numbers diminished, their morale broken. Marcus allowed himself a brief moment of relief. The palace and city were safe, the queen had regained her presence, and the Xyler forces had learned the value of calm coordination and trust. Humanity had not only survived, but had proven its worth. The queen floated to the center of the chamber, her glow bright and steady. She emitted a deep hum, resonating through the palace, signaling authority, recognition, and unity. The lieutenants gathered around her, disciplined, focused, and loyal. Marcus stepped back, observing quietly. "You have faced trials," he said softly, addressing both Xyler and humans, "and you have learned that leadership is more than power. It is presence, reason, and the ability to act calmly when others panic. Humans have shown that even in the most alien circumstances, intelligence and courage can make a difference. Remember that lesson." The lieutenants clicked softly, acknowledging the truth in his words. Even those who had doubted him now recognized the value of collaboration, calm, and strategy. The queen's recovery and the victory over the raiders had shifted the balance. A fragile trust had become a strong alliance. Marcus turned to the human delegation. "You have done well," he said. "Today, humanity has proven that we are more than observers. We are partners, protectors, and guides. Remember this. The galaxy will always test us, but we have shown that we can rise to the challenge." The twin suns of Zerf shone brightly above as the palace doors opened to the city. Citizens looked up, sensing the change. There was pride in the air, a subtle energy of confidence. Humans and Xylers had acted together, faced a common threat, and emerged victorious. It was a small step, but a significant one for the future of interstellar cooperation. Marcus walked through the palace corridors, checking on both humans and Xylers. Every instruction, every calm word, reinforced the lesson that humans could be trusted in moments of crisis. Their intelligence, courage, and adaptability had been crucial. Today, humanity had risen in a way that would be remembered in Xyler history. The queen's hum resonated once more, directed toward Marcus. Though she could not speak fully yet, the meaning was clear: recognition, trust, and appreciation. Marcus nodded in acknowledgement, understanding that humanity's role in this galaxy had changed forever. Outside, the raiders had fled into the void, their attack thwarted. Patrols scanned the skies, ensuring no immediate threat remained. The city of Zerf returned to its rhythm, but the lessons of recent events were not forgotten. Humans had proven that bravery, intelligence, and calm could turn the tide of battle, guide alien civilizations, and secure peace in the most dangerous of situations. Marcus reflected on the journey. From the Queen's collapse to the Council's tension, from repelling raiders to uniting factions, humans had shown their value in ways that brute strength could not achieve. Leadership, strategy, and courage under pressure had ensured survival and established trust. Humanity had risen, not through conquest, but through wisdom and presence. The palace doors closed as night fell once more over Zerf. Stars glittered in the sky, distant yet constant, reminding all who looked up that the galaxy was vast and full of challenges. But humanity had proven that it could face those challenges, stand firm in crises, and guide even the most powerful beings toward stability and success. Marcus stood in the center of the grand hall, human among aliens, calm in the face of what had once seemed insurmountable. The Queen's hum resonated through the chamber, the lieutenants stood disciplined, and the human delegation watched with quiet pride. Humanity had risen. Humanity had survived. Humanity had proven that courage, intelligence, and calm action could shape the destiny of civilizations. The story of Zerf would be remembered not just for the crises faced, but for the moment when humans showed their worth to the galaxy. And as the twin suns set, casting long shadows across the palace, Lieutenant Marcus knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity's place among the stars had been secured, not through force, but through presence, reason, and unwavering courage. The galaxy waited, vast and unpredictable, but humanity had risen to meet it. And Lieutenant Marcus, calm, intelligent, and brave, was ready to face whatever came next.